You know, the landowner in the gospel story this evening is really Jesus talking about God. He went out 5 times in the day looking for laborers. 5 times, a lot of times in one day. And I feel it represents how much he goes out every day looking for all of us, trying to find us. You know, with the image of God in the Good Shepherd going after the lost sheep, we have the image of God in the story of the prodigal son, the father of the prodigal son, every day yearning for his son to come home. We have God in the woman who was forgiven adultery by Jesus, a loving God who searches for us every day, never forgetting any one of us, always looking for us, and so many out there to come back home. And to those who have never been home, he still sends us out to find them. So in that context, I'm very happy to be with you this evening to speak about the church, missionary, and my own missionary order. Can you all hear me? Can you all understand me? Thank you very much. It's a bit different. I apologize for having a limp. I had knee surgery 7 months ago. The doctor never told me, or at least I didn't hear him telling me it would take so long to get better. But I'm told just to persevere. So just to mention that. I just want to say that I grew up, of course, in the southwest of Ireland, in a lovely county Kerry. Deacon to be Brendan will be jealous of that. And I also want to remind him, of course, the patron saint of my diocese is Saint Brendan, a great navigator, one who always went out as well to search for the lost souls. Growing up, as Brendan and others would appreciate, back in the 50s, there were very impoverished times in my country. But we were rich in many ways that we didn't realize then. We were rich in faith, we were rich in church, we were rich in family and neighbourly connections. We all lived as one big family. Today, in the rat race, we become more individualistic. But we grew up with loving parents who toiled every day to make ends meet and to give us an education. We grew up with teachers who were dedicated to making us better people. We grew up with priests who devoted their lives to preaching the gospel. And so it wasn't rare for a young boy, even at the age of 12, to say, I want to be a priest. I remember one day the priest being in my house to pick me up to go to serve his mass away in the mountains at home. I wasn't expecting him, so he had to wait for me to get ready. And, you know, I often think it's in the simple little things of life that there's great meaning. And I overheard him asking my mother, what is Brian going to do when he finishes elementary school? I think he wants to be an agricultural man, a farmer, she said. Oh no, the priest said, I think he's going to be a priest. And I think that was sowed the seed in my mind, in my heart, to the priesthood, which led me along the way to find myself becoming a missionary priest, joining a missionary order called Mill Hill Fathers. And I just want to whisper that that is an English missionary order, but one I'm very happy to be part of. It got me ordained in 1972, and from there for the next 15 years I spent my life in Central Africa, in the Congo, then called Zaire. And I always remember my first journey into that great expanse of land on the equator. Our plane broke down after 2 hours flight, and then we had to go the rest of the way by road. And we traveled for a day and a night until I reached my new diocese. And then I think when the bishop met this Irish guy for the first time, they were all Dutch in my mission area, I think he said to himself, I'll put this Irishman as far away as possible. And so off he sent me to the far end of the diocese, literally 3 days journey. Now, if you had the throughways over there like here, you'd do it perhaps in several hours. But mud roads full of potholes, many precarious, rickety bridges along the way. And there I would see the villages of the people for the first time. We would pass village after village. And every village we would pass through, the people would rush to the roadside and they would wave or cheer as we passed by. It would be perhaps the one and only vehicle that might pass their way that day. And when I reached my new parish of Yalisera, I really felt I'd come to the end of the world. But you know, there's no such place as the end of the world, because wherever people are, that is the sense of life for them, and Yalisera would be quite a center. A mission area, a parish, not like ours here at home. We have just one or two churches, but there you have village after village. We had 60 villages in all, and every village had their own little chapel. I'm very proud of a little mud hut, and we would, if possible, pay for the roofing of it in iron or something like that. But I remember one such family who grew up near the mission station, John Bomengo and his wife Maria Therese and their 5 children. John had his little coffee plantation like everybody else. He went hunting and fishing like everybody else. When you would rise in the morning, maybe sipping a cup of coffee on your veranda, you would see, as the dawn broke, a line of women passing by with their baskets on their back and a child on their way to their fields to spend the day hoeing and weeding. And they would come home in the evening with just enough food for the one and only meal of the day. John at times would go with the menfolk hunting and fishing. Sometimes they come home with some catch, more times none. But yet, in spite of this toilsome way of life, where nobody even owned a bicycle, one walked everywhere. These people would gather into their churches, their little chapels in the villages, especially when we would visit them. We'd go one village after the other, going out for maybe a week on trek to offer the Mass and the sacraments in these places. John Bomengo was our head catechist as well. And we also had this most wonderful youth group. I would love our people here at home to come and see them. They were called Bilenge ya Mwinda, which is the Lingala for the Children of the Light. A movement founded by our own bishop when he was a young priest in Kinshasa, the capital, to give, as it were, young people a place in the church. And they, in fact, would lead the singing and even the dancing that they did during the liturgy as well on the Sunday mornings or whenever we would come to the villages. And those liturgies, those masses, and not unlike your own beautiful masses as well, but there would really be a wonderful occasion of praising God in song, prayer, and even in dancing. Many times I felt, even as the priest celebrating Mass, you could hardly get a word in edgeways. So I think it's a tremendous compliment to pay to these people. So these are the people that we've been striving with for so many years, so many decades. Missionaries in Congo, different countries in Africa and Asia. And the big change for us now is, of course, where do we get vocations from these days? Where is the vineyard of the Lord? Where the harvest is great, but laborers are few. The Lord said that at the very beginning. So I think we always have to search and look for vocations. We don't seem to find them in Europe. We don't seem to find them many in America. But they are there. And they're there in abundance in our mission areas, in Africa, in Asia, and South America. And in fact, our biggest training area at the moment is in Nairobi in Kenya, where our students from various countries and continents begin their missionary training. I had the experience a few years ago of making a trip to South Africa, where we'd open a mission station for the first time ever in that country. I remember going into it and traveling on the highways. You would see these great expanses of land and very few houses. And I was wondering, where are the people? And then my colleague of this new missionary took me one day around the town, the townships, where all the people lived in kind of cribbed, cabined, and confined in these areas. And I thought, all this land out there, but so many people confined together. And so this was a new venture for us, because with Father Kevin, my classmate, were our first 2 newly ordained African missionaries, being missionaries to fellow Africans. So this is something that's going on in the church today. And of course, here in America as well, we've been blessed by priests coming from Africa and India, Sri Lanka, the Philippines, and elsewhere, to be laborers for the harvest here at home. So don't forget to constantly pray that the Lord may bless young minds and hearts, and maybe not so young as well, to turn their thoughts and minds to the needs of God's family, the church. Christ founded this church as a family, that we would be with each other now and forever in heaven as well, so we might carry out the mission that he began so long ago. So this evening, I hope you don't mind for having a collection for the missions as well. And I believe you have envelopes in your pews that whatever you might be able to give for this missionary work would be very welcome. John Mengo, his wife Marie-Therese, and all those people in the Congo, they work hard, but their incomes are very little, so they can only support so much. Today, we have many African priests being missionaries to fellow Africans and elsewhere, and they need our support more than ever. Please keep the missionary church alive. May the Lord bless you in your parish and your families and your homes. Amen.